Okay, as I said, I'm sorry, I'm not the best one in IPM, but I did my best. It's a very short, brief things about general things about IPM strategies, just for you to chat and to ask questions. So as you all may know, what IPM strategies are, start first by identifying pests and monitor the progress of the pests. Action threshold. And the third action in IPM usually is to prevent the pest. And the last IPM strategy is to control, of course, the pest, to reduce the amount of pesticides. So whenever the threshold that has been put at first in the action 2 is overhead, then it's at this moment that pesticide can be applied. But before, everything is tried not to use pesticide. So it was impossible to summarize whatever, so I just stayed very general. So, for example, why to identify pests? Why do we need to know biology, ecology, and location of these pests and monitor the progress? When you look at what have been published so far, it's very important to identify the pest, especially among the species complex. If you remember, all of you, Bactrocera invadans, that was synonymized in a few years ago by the whole team, by Mark Schutz and Tony and so many authors in 2015. But it took from 2003 to 2015 to be able to say it's exactly the same fly. And it has enormous impact on the trade and commercialization of fruits all over the world. So that's a very important thing to know and to identify really the best. But you have also synonymization, but you have also the idea of complex of species. So resolving like the far complex, I just put this as just one hint, like among many of them. Resolving these far complex was very important as well to see the different fruit flies like Ceratidis rosa and PDC, were two species instead of one. So bioecology is completely, well, not completely, but quite different between these two species, and before they were considered as one. So for export, it's got big issues, but also on presence in the sites. So better knowledge on the taxonomy is very important, but then better knowledge on the biology of the fruit fly. So host plant, life story traits, behavior. We heard nice talks about behavior also up to now, the mating, cross recognition, and all these one fruit flies. So this is very important things in the strategy, IPM strategy, to know better what we are fighting for. And then after comes the study of the distribution and the dynamic of this fruit fly, to identify the right moments, to apply control strategy. You heard just before Nico saying about our project on fruit fly IPM, which is also trying to target off-season moments. So we need to know the dynamic of the pests in the orchards and the host fruit to target the right season to where we have the lowest abundance of population, to really try to diminish even more, to prevent it to start higher population when the better season is on. So then after knowing all this part, then you have to identify also vulnerable areas where it is very important to have more, to fight more, but also low abundance areas that will be targeted to grow crops and to prevent to have more invasions. So all these data are very important and are the first step for a really good IPM program. Then after it's a very, very tiny one, it's if you can, you have to put surveillance network, but also identify and set threshold, if possible, threshold that will help you to know when you have to apply more methods or even to spray if really needed. So I just took, Aruna, thank you for your presentation. I took the nice jobs. From your monitoring slides, because she presented a really great presentation on monitoring and IPM strategy and everything for fruit flies and Bactrocera. So the third step would be to prevent these ones after we know better where they are, how they act, what their biology, then we need prevention. So to prevent, there are many different aspects that has been enhanced so far in IPM pest management. I think the first one is the sanitation, prophylaxis. Collecting fruits is the first step for everywhere in the world to reduce the population on spot increasing. So in the orchard, vineyard hygiene, or by collecting the fruit or promoting the different devices has been done. So whether you use collecting by hands or completely destroying everything, in some countries like Hawaii, on Green Island, and in many countries that use this kind of augmentorium name, you see the device on the right side of the screen, that has been used for Bactris dorsalis or Zygodacus cucurbitae, to just take from the fields the rotten fruits and put them in this device to let the parasitoids emerge. So not killing the parasitoids population that could be in the field at the same time. Then you have also to prevent, so promote sanitation, reduce the conditions that attract or favor the fruit flies by taking out alternative hosts, wild hosts which are around your field. But you are also the mechanical barriers, like fruit bagging, like protection against Ceratophrys capitata on pitch in Europe is being used, or greenhouses, like tomato fruit fly in La Réunion. We are using greenhouses to protect them, or greenhouses to protect from all the fruit flies invasions. So I just put very few examples because we don't have time. And of course, out of all this, of the first step and second step, you really have to inform and to work with the growers and train them to recognize, to better use the techniques and the different techniques. And it's a real interaction between the growers, the technical assistants on the different techniques that are the first step for trying to control this pest. So the fourth one is the control, which is my last slide. It's what you heard so far by the different presenters today and yesterday. You can use male annealing technique to deploy all these high density trapping stations for males. So it's male attractants like methylogenol, or that you're very well known for Bactris dorsalis, but you have Qulu, Trimedio, Egoliu, Serraliu, terpineal acetate, and many other lure that can be really appropriate for just catching the male, attracting the males, and after you have to put inside a killer to kill the fruit fly, the male fruit fly being attracted. Then you also have to use bat, the mass trapping of females by using lure or attractants, which would be a food-based attractant to also have an impact on the female population. Then one that you're going to listen in a few moments by our colleague, it's a promote biological control by the use of parasitoids or SIT techniques, which is being developed, like for example, Ceratophrys capitata in Europe, in Spain, to reduce infestation in different areas. So when all these measures have been applied in different places, and our threshold are open, so this is only at this moment that pesticide application can be used as less as possible, especially when they are very efficient on the very species. I think I have finished my very, very quick talk.
Okay,